brought to you by IWC Radio.com. It's the internet's most irreverent wrestling podcast. Now, please welcome Beans, Smoot, Chucks, and Will. This is the IWC.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another installment of the IWC Radio podcast. We're inching our way closer to WrestleMania, and here for the trip with me is, as always, Chucks, Will, and Beans. How are you guys doing?
Hello, I'm good. I panicked then because I had the microphone muted, and I was rushing, and I didn't realize that you was going to say that as quick as you did, so I was drastically trying to unmute myself because I thought there's going to be this awkward silence again.
I kind of panicked because I ran out of words to say. So
it was not evident. You did very well, Smith.
Well, thank you. I try to hide it well, I suppose.
You did.
Yeah, we got a few major stories this week to bring to you, and a recap of the Ultimate Deletion match on Raw. Whether or not it was better or worse than the TNA one will weigh in. And first and foremost, though, let me... there we go. There we are.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, hold on. Sorry, wait a minute.
Hang on.
Had to get that
Oh,
right.
there you go.
Okay, who just like smashed a can with a hammer?
That was me.
That
This is a 5... Oh, hey. We're all getting in on it.
Oh, god damn it. All I've got is a glass of bloody cordial.
Cordial. I've got a 500ml can of Iron Brew for 55p.
Oh.
I'm trying to find something possibly made of
cheap.
glass that I could clink this against, just so at least it makes a noise, but it's probably going to result in me smashing something. I'll just have to do it against the spit guard thing. I don't know if you heard that.
That just sounded like you bumping the mic.
Oh, right. Well, I'll actually bump the mic, but not to the point where I deafen you, hopefully. There you go.
And the chat has just joined us, says, is Beans drinking an iBeans A?
God's sake. Well done, Edge. You've just given Will another week. I might actually go downstairs now and get a beer from the fridge just to crack one open.
There you go. I guess our main subject this week, speaking of Beansamania, the Yesamania seems to be running wild with the news of Daniel Bryan cleared medically, astonishingly.
Yay!
Back in the ring now. He can be. And this was evident from when, at the end of SmackDown, Bryan was basically fired. Owens and Zayn were kind of dipping into that a little bit. And then they just basically ambushed. Well, it wasn't really an ambush, but they just attacked him soon after. And Bryan did these like crazy looking drop kicks in the corner where he was like landing. It looked like he was landing on his head after he landed them, and it was kind of hard to watch that and not wince a couple of times. Just been like, maybe you shouldn't be doing this or something, you know?
I don't know. I thought they looked all right. They were kind of wild, and he went in quick and flipped over and whatever. But he like grabs the top rope, so he never falls that far, and his feet kind of come back down before his head does. I thought,
I've never seen anyone that looks so happy to get beaten up.
Yeah, it's true.
That is true, yeah.
What an amazing moment.
It was. It's one of the best reactions I've heard in a long time, too.
Yeah.
Like, Owens and Zayn are really quite likable as heels, but man, they were hated.
It was also something where Bryan, when he was being stretchered out, the crowd was just cheering, "You still got it!" Like, what a moment! Like, just
seriously. I mean, it was even. I don't know how everyone found out themselves, but I'd managed to actually avoid social media, and the only thing that I got was a slight message from a few people. I think it was Frank Manzo and stuff, and it was just because they'd used the hashtag yes.
Yeah.
So that came up, and I just saw that just before SmackDown kind of came on, and I was like, And I thought, I know we spoke about it last week, saying that the storyline just is begging for Daniel Bryan to be Shane's partner, but... And I'm thinking, I can't imagine it. They're probably just teasing something. And then obviously put SmackDown on live and didn't have any connection to social media, and obviously Joe hit the floor.
Yeah, I heard it right before I went live on Twitch with in a Discord server I was in. Somebody let me know of the story because I'm so far behind on Twitter. It's ridiculous. But yeah, I was notified and I was like, what? And the first thing I immediately thought of was maybe Owens and Zayn versus Bryan and Shane at WrestleMania this year. Which, I mean, we're only a couple weeks out. It's not that far-fetched of a match to have.
I think that's got to be the way they go.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubts now. It's especially, I mean, it was basically confirmed, weren't it, with the beat up at the end? It was like, and it kind of made sense. And trust Daniel Bryan in all his wonderful ways of doing a genuine promo and becoming, coming across as such a genuine guy that he's able to actually do a promo supporting Kevin and Sammy, and now he's able to actually want to go into a match and want to kill him. It was like, the whole dynamic of it was completely thrown off because we were sitting there saying, what are they doing with Shane and Bryan? Like, why are they doing this? Like, what's the end game of it? And within the space of a small beatdown, it now makes complete perfect sense for him to walk up and say, I'm your tag partner.
Kinda. Like, they've been building for so long that they're kind of on opposite sides of this. And I don't know if that just goes away. Because, I mean, that all still happened. They still... Bryan still thinks that Shane was running things... whatever he said, selfish reasons and personal gripes and stuff. I mean, that's still true.
But I think because Shane kind of admitted that I think they were trying to sweep all that under the rug because of the way Shane said the week before, where he said, look, I have taken liberties and I've shown favoritism and I've cost them matches, which isn't right. And that is why I am taking a leave of absence. And you think,
and now I guess
he's and then Daniel Bryan did the same in his promo by saying, yes, I will live vicariously through you. And so they both saying to each other that, we both kind of screwed up.
Yeah, it's true. And now I guess Bryan has to be on the other side of things. He was kind of, as you say, on their side, living through them, and now can't be anymore. So maybe he's going to seize Shane's point a little more. There's 2 weeks to still kind of explain this bit.
Yeah, the only thing I can think of as well is that if Daniel wasn't cleared to wrestle, then obviously the tension between them must have had a different direction down the road that they had planned.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what would that have been? And I know they announced Owens versus Zayn originally, which never really made a lot of sense to me.
The only thing I can think of is possibly whether it would have been
they would have been in the corners.
Well, I wonder whether they would have done a triple threat with Shane and then made like Daniel Bryan the ref or something silly like that, and then it could have carried on with him making a mistake in the reffing or something like that.
Oh, another one. Another ref screw up.
Well, you don't put one of them as refs unless one of them's going to screw up.
It's true. It's true.
The credentials for being a referee are quite sketchy. You might be the best wrestler in the world, Daniel, but refereeing...
The going back to the Owens versus Zayn match potentially, it kind of had some sort of foundation because there was that one match where Zayn left Owens high and dry on like a SmackDown main event or something like that a while back, just to kind of plant the seeds that it was brewing. So it kind of could have blown up at this point. I feel
they had kind of done a few things. Yeah, it'd been kind of going back and forth, but it never seemed that heated to me. There was never that moment like in the Festival of Friendship where they're together and now they're clearly not.
Yeah.
It was a kind of a soft breakup, and then I think, do they get back together for a day or two, and then they did. Oh, the pay-per-view is I'll lie down for you, and then he didn't, and then they're kind of together in that Shane thing from a couple of weeks ago. And
as well, they're both heels, aren't they? I mean, it's not a dynamic you want going into WrestleMania. I mean, everyone would love to see them two have a match, and they already went down that road numerous times, prior. But the dynamic doesn't work when it's heel versus heel.
And the chat says WWE with some feuds loves to leave the door open to change the feud direction before Mania, which, yeah. I mean, going back to the blow up and whatnot, and this goes back to kind of what Chucks is pointing out. It wasn't like the Festival of Friendship. Look at the stuff that's going on between Sasha and Bayley. Like, are they friends? Are they not friends? There hasn't been like an official clearly these two hate each other.
I mean, there's been a couple of those moments, but it's always been in matches where it's justified,
right?
At least a little bit. It might be stupid.
Right.
It might be a little backstabby, but hey, you're in a match.
Yeah. And just, I don't know. Yeah, I agree with Ed and you. Yeah, absolutely. Like, there just hasn't been like the defining moment, if you will.
Plus, it's Owens and Zayn again. And as good as the match would be, we've seen it 1,000 times now.
Fight forever.
Yeah. It's like doing AJ and Chris Daniels again. I never don't enjoy it, but oh my god, I need to see it.
At some point, it just becomes like the next Cena Orton.
Yeah.
No way.
Although it would be a lot better than those matches.
Chucks and Will, how did you find out about Bryan's return on Twitter beforehand, or?
No, I was watching Raw from the night before. On the Tuesday night, and the WWE app gave me a alert.
I saw it on Reddit earlier that day. It just popped up on the front page.
You were
saying Daniel Bryan's been cleared.
You were catching up on Raw during SmackDown, I saw as well.
I was, it must have been about the same time as Will. Yeah, I didn't get any arguments this time, but still been bugging me though.
Oh
no! I was the bigger man this week, and I wished him happy birthday. But he didn't.
No, did he say like, "Oh, my birthday"? Another enlightened individual trying to get the inside scoop.
He didn't answer me.
No. You're a professional idiot.
Well, that's it.
Wow.
He's right.
I still have the image there.
Oh no. Oh, damn.
There he is.
I may just keep that on there for a while. Just break it out whenever you guys mention them.
I'm going to say you leave that on there long enough, and that'll be the image that YouTube picks for this episode.
Oh, that'd be great.
That's not a plan. That's a remove the image.
Or I could just make like a JPEG and just deliberately make it the thumbnail.
Yeah.
And give it to Will.
That's true.
You would, wouldn't you?
I may do that
just to wind me up.
May do that for last week's show. Moving on.
I think we should make it part of the logo.
Yeah, there you go. This was something that was sprung onto me a few moments ago by Will, which apparently WWE sent out a press release statement saying that they are in discussions with Hulk Hogan and possibly how they can help others from Hogan's mistakes, basically, and such.
I'm just going to say they released a press release that they are in talks with him.
Yeah. Not anything with a contract though. He's not under contract, but just how to learn not to say
bizarre.
the N-word. Yeah.
Well, wasn't it kind of brought up by someone else? I think one of the news sites said something about it happening, and then they confirmed it after that. I think I may have it backwards, but that's the way I heard it.
I think Triple H was asked in the conference call a couple of weeks ago.
Was that it?
There was me thinking it was Stingmon.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
I would ask if you've still got that clip, but I won't be able to hear it anyway.
Yeah, I still do. But there's some rumors that he could be the new GM. Now that Shane has taken like a quote unquote indefinite leave of absence, and Bryan now being cleared to wrestle again. If
there's any GM that's going to lose his job, it's probably going to be Kurt, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's probably true.
Yeah, I think maybe.
And he's going to make Raw red and yellow.
Oh god! I think his match at Mania might be a good indicator to see whether or not Kurt can possibly work like a part-time schedule or something.
They should just put a stip on that match. If Kurt wins, he gets to keep his job. If he loses, he doesn't.
Yeah.
Something that simple.
He gets a second contract that lets him wrestle.
I think if we've had this much trouble on SmackDown with Shane and Daniel Bryan running things with their prejudices, I don't know that Hogan's the right guy to replace him.
Oh. I mean, yeah. I mean, that's a fair point. It's a very
Is he
fair
really
point.
the guy you want?
It says Hogan is War or Raw is Hogan. Can we not throw that out there?
Maybe you'll bring Dixie with him.
Oh God!
Oh God, no.
I hope it's that.
It's just, he drags her out on his leg.
Yeah. Yes. Oh yes! Now I'm all for it.
Ed in the chat just said, "Did you guys see EC3 finally got fired from Impact this week on TV?"
I saw the video. I didn't hear the audio from it, but I saw like all the people walking in front of the camera like during this promo that EC3 was cutting and whatnot.
Oh. I'm gonna say I thought Bobby Roode was still the TNA champ.
Might well be.
I think it's either Aries or Johnny
Aries.
Impact. Okay. There we go. I want to see an episode of Raw or SmackDown where, Hogan just comes out and Dixie's just like attached to his leg. There you go. God, look how old this image is. My God, the Spike Network.
I've got to be honest.
Anymore.
I was not prepared to see an image of Hulk Hogan with Dixie attached to his leg, and the word Spike next to her.
Yeah.
That it's a network that doesn't exist anymore.
Really? Oh yeah.
They rebranded it to like the Paramount Network, I believe, or something.
Did that move turn out to be a good thing for them?
I don't know.
It sounds like a very bland name that I don't know really what the goal is.
Same, honestly.
Oddly enough, it still exists here and still shows TNA.
Yeah, it's 5 Spike now.
Weird.
Really?
Yeah, Channel 5, I guess, bought the UK rights to it or whatever. No, it's 5 Spike.
So, what year is the UK TV channel showing of Impact? Like 2003?
Oh, I wish. That would be great.
No, I think they're up to date. I think it's like a week behind.
It's just a shame that they're so far behind themselves.
Yeah, there is that.
This is an awkward silence.
I know. Sorry. I
everyone's just thinking about Hogan.
No. I just pulled up the Paramount Network because it is owned by Viacom. So they retweeted Nickelodeon, and apparently John Cena is hosting the Kids' Choice Awards on Nickelodeon and whatnot. But they have a GIF that looks absolutely nightmare-inducing here. Of Cena just dancing the Carlton dance in slow motion here for some reason. Like, I hate it.
It could get worse. Have you seen the
what?
Oh,
I was going to say that doesn't sound nightmare-inducing at all, but there it is.
There it is. Yeah.
Yep, that's the reason why you're not going to sleep tonight.
There's also, I think I've seen like other commercials where he's like dressed as like a woman, and it's also equally as frightening.
Yes,
you're not allowed to say that. It's 2018.
He also has his head superimposed onto a dog.
Oh God, no. No.
And one of them's a really weird nerd-like character, and he's stood in the background and he's wearing a T-shirt that says "I love Dwayne Johnson."
Oh my God.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
There we go.
There you go. So it's come to this. He's been doing that Kids' Choice Award for how many years now?
He seems to be everywhere right now.
Yeah.
Promoting that movie that's coming out, he's doing WWE stuff, he's doing Nickelodeon stuff. Just go away.
I'll take this. I want him off TV. I want him off WWE TV. If he's doing other stuff, I'm not going to watch the Kids' Choice Awards. I'll admit it. I'll say it. There it is. It's out there. I'm not going to watch the Kids' Choice Awards. I'm sorry. I'm just not. But
slightly disappointed, but we accept that that's.
I'm probably not going to watch his films. I haven't watched Daddy's Home 2.
I've actually. It's not bad.
Yeah.
He's also in that.
Yeah, it didn't look terrible.
He's also.
I haven't seen it.
He's also in that Cock Blockers movie that's supposed to be coming out.
I thought that was him. Yeah. I thought I saw him in the trailer for that.
Yeah, that's what he was over here promoting last week. He was on everything.
Did he have to call it Blockers?
Yeah. They had like a cock-a-doodle-doo noise or whatever to make up for it. Here's Cena, by the way, making final preparations before the Kids' Choice Awards, dressed up as Leonardo from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, reading a script.
Oh, please do not tell me that he's ruined Leonardo.
Well, look at the stream when it shows up, Beans, and you tell me.
Oh, fuck you. It could have just been Raphael, and I would have been happy with it because I never liked Raphael. But no, you just had to go and ruin Leo, didn't you?
Apparently.
He's only.
I hope Undertaker kills him at Mania.
Whoa!
I meant in a match. I didn't mean kill him like literally.
Actually, gonna rest in peace. And he's only hosted twice, only the last 2 years. But I could have sworn he did more than that.
Has The Rock not done it a few times? You're getting mixed up with him.
The Rock did it in 2009. I think we've seen like won some awards or something.
Yeah, maybe.
The one time where Chucks is like writing away to kill off Cena on TV, Beans is like, I hope Undertaker kills him.
Yeah, I didn't mean it in a literal sense. I'm not like expecting it to pull out a Magnum 44, like, you know. Sure. WrestleMania just goes off the air. Bizarre fan footage just appears on Twitter. You won't believe what he just did.
Oh yeah, here's some of the there's the promo material for Cena and whatnot, where he's like dressed as like different characters. That's creepy.
Yep.
Oh man.
Anyway. Yeah, the baby thing is really creepy.
Yeah.
I kind of had to look at Jack and just make sure he was all right after I saw that. Kind of freaked me out.
It's gonna haunt you now. So yeah, that's something Cena's doing.
I'm trying to look up what Kids' Choice Awards he's won, but it's not listed here under his wiki for other awards and honors.
Really?
Oh, yeah, I guess it's just not a big enough deal for that.
Is a Kids' Choice Award considered an honor?
Is it?
Oh, is it not?
I would assume it is. I mean, you get a little cool.
Would you not be honored to win one?
You get a little blimp.
Is it not like a Slammy though? It just doesn't really mean anything.
Oh my God! How dare you?
Let me tell you something. I would love to have a Slammy. All right. How dare you besmirch the good word of the Slammy?
Yeah.
I can't cope with any kind of award ceremony that's just voted for by fans. It's just a popularity contest, isn't it?
Yeah, that's democracy.
That's bullshit.
Next minute, you'll be telling me the Academy of Wrestling Arts and Sciences exists.
Do you know, I'm sorry, this is going to not make any sense for Smoot, and it's going to be a quite controversial thing if anyone in Britain listens. But it's the NTA Awards in Britain. Now, this is just where people go online and vote for programs that they like. But people don't vote for programs that they think are best. They just vote for things that they do like in preference, aka a soap that is their favourite soap. When they don't watch all soaps, they will just vote for the one that they watch just out of principle.
Right.
And also, that's the reason why Ant and Dec have won every bloody award that ever existed that they're in a category of, because they're so loved.
Although maybe not anymore.
Well, yeah. I didn't want to go down that road, Will, and neither did Ant.
Neither did he, yeah. God damn it.
I'm sorry, that was terrible. I feel bad.
But doesn't that kind of balance out in that the shows that people like are kind of the best by default?
Yeah, right.
Like maybe you only watch one soap because the others just aren't very good.
Yeah, but unless you watch all of them for that year, and then for that year you're supposed to make a decision on which one was best in that year, you would need to have watched them all. Same way as like the Academy with the Oscars.
Yeah, but do they watch every film?
Yeah.
They watch the big ones. They don't watch every film.
The ones that get nominated, they've got to make a decision on.
But which ones get nominated?
Well, that sounds like a documentary if I've ever heard of one.
Not that I'm defending the Oscars at all, but I think if you need someone to have experienced everything in a certain category before they can make an informed decision.
Not to interrupt, but I just threw up that image of Cena as a dog, and that is frightening, first off. And second, in the process of me trying to get it up onto the stream, I accidentally set it as my wallpaper.
Oh.
So
now he's the big dog.
Yeah, great.
Oh, God.
I'll have to fix it after the show now. Great.
Yeah, what you're going to do now is forget about it, and then when you come to log in tomorrow, you're going to shit yourself?
Yeah, exactly. Pretty much, yeah. As soon as I minimize Chrome, it's just going to be like that staring in my face. So thank you, Will, for sharing that. Continue with the voting here of awards.
So Cena's won 10 Slammies.
I think if we learned anything, we should just scrap all awards.
I mean,
yeah, because you can never have tested everything.
Did WWE kind of just do that?
Well, they didn't do Slammies last year. Cena's won Superstar of the Year 3 times, Match of the Year twice, and Kiss of the Year in 2012 with AJ Lee. Now that's a Slammy I'd like to win.
What, you want to kiss John Cena?
Yes, very good. Very. God damn it, I've got no comeback.
Yes, finally.
You. That was amusing. Well done.
I'm proper happy now. I don't care what we talk about.
Let's get to the Ultimate Deletion match from Raw.
It's adjusted my attitude for the night.
Hey. Heyo. The Ultimate Deletion match. This was the main event to this past Monday's Raw.
Yeah, I'm sorry you had to watch that.
Oh my God. So many people were upset at Michael Cole for saying that.
I had to be honest. Like, I mean, you know me. I've not watched any of the TNA stuff.
Right.
I wasn't quite sure what to expect. Like, I'd seen little bits and things from previous stuff, but never understood like the whole kind of structure of all these things. But yeah, I gotta say, like, the whole thing with Michael Cole beforehand didn't like get me off onto a good start for this. Thinking like, what exactly are they about to air when your main broadcasters just apologise that this is closing the show?
I think they may be building something. I hope they're not. But with him and Matt Hardy.
What, Michael Cole and Matt Hardy? What makes you
Matt
think that?
He said something on Twitter this week saying something about Cole could get deleted.
Oh, that would be so great.
So basically what we're saying is he's going to throw Michael Cole into the lake of reincarnation and then he's going to come out wearing a singlet.
Oh,
and
God.
Frosted tips.
And frosted tips, yeah.
Hang on, we've done this before.
We have.
We've done this, and I said he was going to become a war correspondent. No, let's not do this again. Have we all gone into the lake of reincarnation and come back 2 weeks ago?
Yes.
But I don't remember this conversation.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I do. It's deja vu.
Was I here?
Yes, probably.
Yeah, you must have been. You've been around for a little while now.
Yeah. Ironically enough, Bray Wyatt went into the lake of reincarnation and
drowned.
And drowned, yeah. Matt Hardy won by drowning. He drowned a man.
Well, he disappeared completely. So he was reincarnated as
water.
I don't know.
Water.
As nothing. Yeah.
Well, did anyone notice that when he hit him to go into the lake, the splash of him going into the lake was just very coincidentally looked like a brick that had just been dropped into the water rather than a body.
What are you implying?
Maybe
Bray never actually went into the lake.
Maybe he's an Olympic high diver.
Yeah. There you go. You didn't think of that, did you?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a video on WWE's YouTube channel where Senor Benjamin has found his lantern.
Oh, God.
And he gives it back to Matt, and Matt just starts laughing. Oh, yeah.
All right.
So this is got to be used to obviously do something different with Bray.
You would think, yeah.
Possibly. I mean, it's not called the Lake of Reincarnation or re-envisioning or whatever, however many nicknames we gave it over the past few weeks for nothing. Like, you got to give the lake its gimmick, basically. Which, by the way, I wasn't too crazy with all the little sub areas having their own name.
Is that not something he did before?
No, they didn't call like aluminum siding like dilapidated city or whatever it was.
Yeah, there's more words on the screen.
Yeah,
can't help themselves.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh no! Did you not notice there was less of that this week?
No.
Piano.
If I notice one word on the screen, that was too much.
Yeah, I don't know because I was kind of fast forwarding through SmackDown, but I didn't notice that as much.
Yeah, they didn't do it on Raw or SmackDown. Honestly, they kept it minimal on Mixed Match Challenge too, from what I remember.
Just wait until next week's SmackDown when they recap Daniel Bryan telling you that he's cleared, and the word "cleared" like gets copy and pasted about 400,000 times on the screen.
And it's also translucent; only has the outline to make it clear.
Cleared.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
Did any of you see the original Final Deletion match? Because I know I have.
Yeah.
I've never seen any of the others, so I didn't know what to expect with this.
Okay.
Well, I didn't see it when it happened, but I've seen it since. Yeah.
Okay. Which one would you prefer, the WWE's version or TNA's?
A tough one though.
Because believe it or not, I actually kind of prefer the TNA one over
WWE.
WWE.
Yeah, I agree. TNA ones and the later ones especially, they did more kind of wacky stuff.
Right.
They had some other people involved. They had was it the Rock and Roll Express showed up once, just for fun. It's like that stuff doesn't happen in WWE. This was just a match. It was a bit weird. I wasn't a big fan of the kind of Looney Tunes style cutting, running around those statues.
Oh yeah, the Scooby Doo thing.
Yeah, right.
I didn't mind
Benny
it.
Hill.
Benny Hill, yeah. Just needed some yakety sax. Yeah, I didn't hate the WWE version. It's just it didn't add anything new to it.
No, it just
you know?
Yeah.
Do you think maybe they were just sort of testing the water, see how it went down? Maybe get some more stuff like that.
No, I think Bray Wyatt's tested the water. That's what it's going to do to him. It felt like, to give him credit, it felt like a Hardy thing.
Yeah.
It wasn't like it was WWE all over it.
Right.
It felt like they were doing their thing, and it was what we were hoping for.
Yeah,
they just didn't do very much.
Yeah. It was kind of like
I've got to be honest, because I haven't seen any of the others. I just thought that there was supposed to be more things that happened in these things, because I kind of just felt like it was a bit like a WWE hardcore match, but just like, I don't know.
Not even a very good one.
Yeah, just...
I quite like when the fireworks went off and Bray Wyatt went, "What's that?" As if he's never seen fireworks before.
Do you know, I think I was also ruined a little bit by the beginning, because I was quite... Obviously, walked up to the gates, and then Vanguard 1, like, greeted him. And then when it did, like, the little projection of Matt, like, welcoming him, I thought, that's actually really good effects, considering that this is WWE, and it's like... And I was like, what the hell are they going to do if they can do them kind of effects? And then it was just like, oh, some fireworks.
Well, they had Bray Wyatt as, like, a hologram that Dean Ambrose got distracted by that one year.
Oh, yeah. They did that.
Yeah, no, the fireworks. A lot of people were riffing on that for saying that's where the pyro budget went, which was great. And they're not wrong. They're not wrong.
That's why Bray was shocked he didn't see any for a while.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, he never had any. He's just got like mobile phones.
That's true.
Yeah, I was surprised how much of the TNA stuff they actually brought over.
Yeah.
I didn't think they'd go all the way with it. I thought they'd try and put their own spin on it. And for most of it they did. So, yeah, it was good. It wasn't awful.
Yeah, no, it wasn't awful by any stretch of the imagination. It just wasn't... It didn't live up to the TNA version, I think. Which is really weird for me to say.
Yeah, but isn't there a thing about how when you saw it in TNA, because you'd not seen it before, it was like something quite big, whereas with WWE, you knew what you were going to get?
No, it really was a lot bigger. It was Matt versus Jeff, the first one. And you, to some degree, when they started firing the fireworks at each other and Matt jumped behind the dilapidated boat, that wasn't a big thing, but it was funny and it was the first thing. So, yeah, that's true. But they also did the big spot, at the end when Jeff fell off the big old thing.
Yeah.
That was huge. It just, I don't know, it just felt like there was more going on. A bit crazier. This was, they cut between areas, like they were doing a thing in the ring and then suddenly they're at the Dome of Deletion. And then they come out of there and they're somewhere else. And Ray had his
I'm going to say
the
Dome of Deletion. That was the place where Smoot years ago showed me.
Yeah.
Like Jeff falling through that shitty plastic table. Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Where he threw a baby at him or something like.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you? It's also where Matt ate the grapes.
Yes. Yes.
That means nothing to me.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you remember when Matt was like threatening to kill himself and stuff, and he was like he'd gone off the rails?
Yeah.
Remember him
Paul London
sitting
was
where
making fun of him.
I remember him walking around his house while it was all wrecked and saying that spirits
Matthew.
had done it.
Yeah, Matthew.
Yeah.
Matthew Hardy.
Yeah. Exactly. It's like around that time, he looked completely pissed, just off his face. And then he got into that ring in the Dome of Deletion, which I guess wasn't. It was just a shed then.
Yeah.
And he was eating some grapes, and he told the camera, "I love my grapes."
Right. Okay.
And then Paul London made fun of him.
Yeah.
For being like a drug addict.
Ataku's just joined us in the chat and says, "Chair of wheels, mower of lawn."
I did kind of giggle at Chair of Wheels a little bit, admittedly.
I don't really get it.
Instead of saying wheelchair, chair of
wheels.
No,
yeah, no, I mean, I understand. God damn it. I just didn't really get why he was going between the two and why there was a chair of wheels there.
And why he wanted to kill him with a lawnmower.
Well, yeah.
Arguably,
I mean, that's a bit more understandable, but still. Yeah.
Arguably vehicular manslaughter, in a way.
I was a little bit confused by Matt's face when Bray did his spider walk when he was about to run him over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And he, like, gradually, like, the camera cuts made him look like he got up, like, in a weird way. And he just kept putting the camera on Matt's face, and it's like, I'm not quite sure what's happening to Matt. I'm not quite sure what he's actually trying to portray here at the moment.
Was the lawnmower not a bit of a throwback to the House of Horrors match?
No, I think...
yeah. Probably not, but that's good.
It should have gone past the Dome of Deletion entrance whilst they were fighting, just on its own. Like rolled past.
I think the lawnmower was more of a reference to the first one, or the build up to it, where he was making those crop circles in his lawn.
Oh God, I forgot all about that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay. What have they done with the wheelchair? The chair of wheels?
No idea.
Nothing.
It looked like a pretty bad wheelchair.
Well, maybe he's going to wheel Bray out on that on Raw.
Oh,
he's going to have a new gimmick. He's going to be like,
instead of a rocking chair, it's just a wheelchair. Chair of wheels.
Yeah. Because, like, I imagine he's going to have lost the spirit of Sister Abigail. That kind of has to be the thing. The Great War is over. She's been deleted. So now he's going to be like an empty vessel in a wheelchair. Like Linda McMahon.
Oh, my God.
And then he's going to get up and kick Vince.
We're right here, WrestleMania. Bray's going to be in Matt's corner all the way through the match, literally sitting in a wheelchair.
And then he's going to stand up.
And then
oh my God,
smack Matt in the balls.
And then tell him, I want a divorce.
I can totally see it happening. This WrestleMania is shaping up to be the best ever. Who needs Daniel Bryan returning when you've got this as a potential? I think they should hold off on Daniel Bryan till next year's WrestleMania, personally.
Oh my God. And I asked a question a while back that we didn't get a chance to read. Asking after Bryan gets done at Mania, what would you have him do next in the ring?
Challenge Hulk Hogan.
Oh my God. Oh my God. So we're just going to be recycling like 2013 TNA angles now.
Yeah, and while he's doing that, he could join the Wyatt family again.
Oh my God.
He should actually just come out on one show wearing that boiler suit thing that he wore when he joined him and just go, guys, do you remember this?
Jesus. Speaking of Wyatt, I mean, going back to Sister Abigail, they never did the match between Demon Finn and Sister Abigail.
That's true, they didn't.
So
that's not
well. Yeah. Demon Finn has just disappeared, hasn't he?
Yeah.
I think it's because Finn's like on the verge of possibly being heel.
I think
it's because he's not winning any of his pay-per-view matches.
Or I think Vince just hates it.
Vince hates it.
Yeah.
If he's winning at WrestleMania, I think they'll do it.
Maybe.
I've been waiting for years now to see him do that entrance at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
how weird was it when you think that Raw had the ultimate deletion, which was TNA thing on it, and you had UFC footage being played because you've got Ronda Rousey on it.
Yeah.
All in one show.
Well, she hasn't showed up for 2 weeks now?
She wasn't on the main show, but she was in a dark spot after
she was
Raw.
Yeah.
So she was actually there. They just didn't use it for TV.
What?
She battered. What's the stat lady called?
Dana
Brooke.
Dana Brooke.
Not lady. Dana White.
I couldn't think of a name briefly.
What's the stat lady called?
The one that likes to show us how big her biceps are.
Yeah.
And then every time she does her entrance and she does that forward flip, I keep thinking she's going to land on her head.
Oh, yeah. That's true.
Although they did put out that weird sort of advert, didn't they? Say that she was going to be on every edition of Raw until Mania.
Yeah.
Yeah, in video packages.
That's why I mentioned it.
Yeah.
Well, The Rock said he's back and he's never going away again.
That's also
It's true. He's with us in spirit all the time.
Yes, he is. What would you do with Daniel Bryan? Have him run away from Kane some more? Pick up where he left off?
I don't know.
Surely he's going to have a program with The Miz.
Oh, that's
wrong brand. Is he going to move to Raw? Well, he probably will because he's such a big deal.
He might be a free agent.
Well, again, it's hinted that the dual brand stuff is going to go away, at least from that one Paul Heyman promo. That's my source. That's what I'm sourcing. But you could do something at a pay-per-view, where they meet up backstage or something.
Yeah,
because at the very least, the pay-per-views are going to be dual branded.
I'd hold the Miz off for a bit. I think that could be like a SummerSlam kind of thing that they could do with Bryan. Because it's one of them where you're not expecting like a 5-star match out of it, but just purely from the the interactions they had on Talking Smack and some of the actual mic work they could do leading into it. I think that would just be cool.
Yeah.
I think maybe Will's right. Not so much a free agent, but he was never signed to SmackDown. He was never a talent there. He's always been the GM.
Right.
So now if he's not the GM anymore, if he's a talent,
he could
he'll do this thing at WrestleMania, and then who knows where he's going to end up.
He could have
he
could have a second contract.
Maybe he'll keep his job as SmackDown GM, but be an active Raw roster member.
There you go.
Oh, conflict of interest.
Yeah.
There's also with the new TV deal coming up, and the speculation that WWE may end up going to Fox. Raw going on Fox and SmackDown on FS1, which would mean Raw is by a long shot the A show, and they're going to want all of the main, the big stars to go on there.
Yeah.
In which case, he probably will end up on Raw, and the Miz thing is very likely his first feud.
You think they could keep this going for another year then? That's the thing, though.
Yeah.
Because the contracts aren't up until 2019 for the TV stuff.
Yeah, that's true. But then, it doesn't have to happen then. They could do the shake-up, or at least half of it, beforehand.
True, yeah.
It's never too early to kill SmackDown, is
it? Wow.
And you can do it every other year.
First John Cena, now SmackDown. When will it end?
It's all getting deleted.
There's a few matches I think we'd like to see. You got AJ Styles.
I was just going to say, the whole thing with Daniel Bryan is frightening because it's like you'd look at half the roster and he's probably not faced them.
Yeah.
He literally has about 10 dream matches that he could have. If he doesn't wrestle if he wrestled for the next 5 years in WWE, God willing, and he only wrestled 3 times a year on pay-per-view, he could still have a fresh dream match in every single one of them, probably.
Make him the new Undertaker. The new Undertaker.
Brock Lesnar.
Yeah. The new spectacle.
But how much did you think that Roman Reigns was sat in the back Like, oh shit.
Not at all. Not at all. He's fine.
Did you see what
goes up to Vince going, Vince, what the hell?
Vince said, don't worry about it. Like, he's been around before, and I pushed you. It's fine.
He's a vegan.
Yeah, I'm going to say Vince is there going, don't worry about it, Roman. We'll have you beating him in a few months.
Yeah.
No, don't worry. He's a vegan.
You know he doesn't even own a TV.
He doesn't own a television set. Yeah.
The real answer, though, what do you do with Daniel Bryan after WrestleMania is WrestleMania is a tag. So there's still matches with Zayn and Owens.
Yeah.
True.
Keep them going for a little while.
As being said, there's about 10 matches you could just think of right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the first thing. And then, God, yeah. I mean, the AJ is the big one.
Yeah.
You want to see him face AJ, Nakamura. I mean,
Baron Corbin. I mean, obviously Baron Corbin.
No. I know it sounds stupid, and it's probably will already happen, but like Seth Rollins doesn't feel like a rivalry that I ever saw between them.
No.
I mean, depending.
I know
on
it happened with the Shield and stuff, but it doesn't feel.
Depending on how.
That was always the one that I wanted to see. Actually, after the Shield thing, all those 6-mans. That was the match I wanted to see.
First off, seeing what Rollins did to Sting, I don't want to see that match. First off. Second of all, you may have that kind of a match depending on how they do the dual-branded pay-per-views. If it's like a Raw versus SmackDown type of match, at least one of those may be. Where they do like a wild card like that. That'd be kind of cool to have.
Also, as well, there was one match. Sorry, go on, Will.
No, go on, sorry.
No, I was just going to say, I always remember Bryan always doing conversations about matches that he always wanted to have, and the one thing that he always wanted to do, especially at say like a WrestleMania, was to face Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
Mm.
And how much does that potential possibly change the setting for Lesnar moving forward, knowing what's happening with his contracts and stuff coming up?
Well, Bryan wants it, but does Lesnar care? I mean, does he care enough to sign for another year or 3?
But the thing is if Vince knows that it's a massive match that they could build on, and Lesnar doesn't particularly care, he's just going to do whatever. If he gets paid for it, great. Then if, you know what I mean, you've got 3 parties there, and 2 of them would really want it. So I think the other one could be persuaded quite easily.
I'd be a bit wary of that Bryan's well-being in that match.
Yeah, but that's part of the thing with it as well, isn't it? It's like it's going to be the same when you watch it at Mania. You know for a fact that Daniel Bryan's like, we've got to make sure that you work on my neck and my head.
Yeah, but...
Do you know what I mean? I mean, even like you said, when he's on the SmackDown and he's doing the bloody drop kicks, and he's only an inch or 2 from smacking his head into the mat as he's doing his own move, and you're like, wow, he really is just like, you know.
Yeah, I know. Taki pointed this out in the chat, saying that apparently Bryan needs to do impact testing after each match, so they assume they're not going to put the title on him for a while or ever.
Well, they've got to put the title on him. I mean.
Yeah, of course.
I know that it's like one of them like Shawn Michaels scenario, like where he, you know, how long that second run in his career was, and he basically was champion for a month out of them like 7 or 8 years, and he never really needed it.
Yeah.
But there's such a big story to be told for Daniel Bryan winning that title after all this, so I definitely think that's going to be a big story in the future, as long as obviously he stays healthy and.
And it's only impact testing. This is the thing they do after any suspected concussion.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean he's done. It means he may have to sit out for a few weeks, but it may be fine.
Yeah, and the thing is it's like, you know, you'd imagine that he's probably not going to be doing the schedule that he did.
Oh yeah.
Before.
Oh no.
You know that and that in itself is, you know, that'll hopefully help. And I mean, I know it only takes one move, but you know, like you said, how many of these things that they go through is an accumulation of doing it day in, day out, you know.
And he's asked for a regular schedule, but they're not going to agree to that.
No.
So.
And the reason they didn't ever put the title on Shawn for that long, or Undertaker, you know, in the last 10 years of his career or whatever, is because they didn't work house shows. And they always want the belt on house shows. Although That said, Lesnar's had the belt for a year now, so obviously that's not a huge deal to them anymore.
Right.
So yeah, I don't see why it couldn't happen.
Yeah.
Might not be long term, but you know.
Yeah, but I mean, the same thing with like Lesnar. I mean, he's done the house shows, but it's always been like the Madison Square Garden and stuff.
He's done like 1 or 2 here and there. He's not on the road.
You know, I mean, if that's the criteria for being champion, you know.
It used to be, but like back in the day when they were doing the brand split and whatever, they always wanted. That's why there are 2 world titles, because they want them on. They think that it sells house show tickets to have a champion on there, or they used to. I guess they're easing up on that now.
Speaking of Lesnar, we didn't get a chance to mention this. How about the beatdown on Roman Reigns? They handcuffed Roman Reigns, who wasn't supposed to be in the arena. For some reason, didn't have his vest on, and beat up a bunch of U.S. Marshals.
Yeah, that was stupid.
Yeah.
Hey, he didn't have his vest on because he's suspended, and. And also, he's decided to do that John Cena thing of when you've been fired, you show up on the following show.
Right, yeah.
You miss no time.
And this week, he'll probably be reinstated, and it'll just basically have been a null point all the way through.
Pretty much, yeah. Like, having him just straight up just be there and take a beat down from... The U.S. Marshal bit was just stupid. Just flat out stupid.
The U.S. Marshals?
I don't know. Why the hell were they even there? What were they there for? Like, let's take Reigns out of the equation. Let's say he didn't show up. What reason would there be to have U.S. Marshals backstage? Like, honestly. You guys still there? You couldn't think of anything, right?
Got nothing.
I think, yeah, it's just, it was such a strange thing when it was like, why is it U.S. Marshals? Like, haven't they got better things to do?
Exactly.
And you're just making them look like total jabronis.
Yeah, so much for all that massive training that they must have to just get beaten up by Roman Reigns, who's handcuffed.
Yeah, and then
Lesnar could just be like the rent-a-cop kind of security that they usually have. You can kick those guys around, that's fine. But like U.S. Marshals, they're supposed to be...
Smoot, I've got to say, if you're ever in a spot of bother in your country and you see 3 U.S. Marshals that come over to protect you, you might want to still be concerned.
Jeez.
Because I'm not convinced on the training of these guys.
Especially if they have like the words U.S. Marshal in the back of their shirts, in like plain white font too.
Yeah, and also, you know, like when Roman said, like, I'm gonna leave, it's okay, just don't touch me. And then the following thing that he does is make sure that he touches him rather aggressively to make sure that he antagonizes to get beaten up.
Right, yeah. And then you have Lesnar. Then you have Lesnar coming out, and then he puts a whooping on Reigns, and then the Reigns gets stretchered out, and then Lesnar tries to tip over the stretcher, which he doesn't do on the first attempt, and gets in some EMT's face about it. And then you're wondering where the U.S. Marshals went, because clearly you have an assault going on here that they're not doing their job to protect for, you know? Like,
yeah,
it's true.
It goes back to the whole prejudice thing that, you know.
Trespassing, even though you're employed by the company, is very serious. But battering someone with a chair and flipping them over when they're on a stretcher to the point where it looks like you're killing them is obviously not something to be concerned about.
And was it Cole, one of the announcers, I don't know if it's Cole, said like this is the worst attack we've seen.
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah.
Have you forgotten that Strowman did the exact same thing and then flipped the ambulance over?
Have you forgotten that like Brock Lesnar beat up Michael Cole for no reason?
Have we forgotten that Roman Reigns put Braun Strowman in the back of an ambulance and like drove it into a truck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You may want to revise your senseless beatdown.
Have we forgotten that Big Show picked up Rey Mysterio when he was strapped to a board and
that was
him against the ring post like a baseball bat?
And then dropped him on his head.
Yeah, honest to God, I was hoping to see that again from Lesnar to Reigns. Honest to God.
Well, it's a good job Bryan's fit because Roman Reigns is practically brain dead.
Yeah. Then what else we had? We had Asuka defending the
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Don't mean to interrupt. I'm just thinking back on the Brock Lesnar thing. Did anyone else think it was a mistake to having to keep going away and then coming back?
No.
Because that was...
other than when Strowman did it best because he had the "I'm not finished with you" bit associated to his character. Yeah. Lesnar just did it because he's a bully.
Yeah, I don't think it came across like that. I think the crowd was actually booing Lesnar at the start of it all for what he was doing because it was quite brutal with the chair. But after he just kept coming back, I think fans started to like it more and more.
It just reminds us of Braun Strowman. It's like, yeah, this is fun now.
Yeah.
It just turns into comedy after a while.
Yeah. Which makes it great.
It was pretty great.
Asuka defended her streak against the Raw Women's Champion, Alexa Bliss, who...
Can we stop saying the streak is in jeopardy?
Well...
it always is. I get that. I don't need that to be every match she has.
Apparently, and this was brought up on the Mixed Match Challenge, where the streak is in jeopardy as well. If even
in a tag, even if she doesn't lose.
Yeah.
Which means the streak already isn't as long as we think it is.
Right. Then we had Strowman defeating the Raw Tag Team Champion Cesaro, which I don't remember much of, but I'm sure it was a good match. The Revival defeating Titus Worldwide, and they are also in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, self-proclaimed. Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville taking out Bayley and Sasha, which I think Ed mentioned those two are going to be probably thrown into the Women's Battle Royal, despite the animosity between the two parties. Which
Sasha Banks has been announced.
Yeah.
For it.
Okay. Pretty sure Bayley will be in there somewhere at some point.
Yeah.
Presumably. And then you had John Cena coming out and provoking The Undertaker some more. Which... It came across as Cena just having a midlife crisis. Honestly.
To be fair, he's dressed like a 12-year-old boy.
Yeah, that's true. And Kane came out and just basically chokeslammed him.
Can I just... I know that we like to, critique John Cena's performances, but...
Yeah.
God damn, could you have slapped him when you saw his reaction to Kane coming out? Like, jaw on the floor, really over the top. Oh my God!
It's Kane.
Yeah,
it's gotta be Kane.
And then he carried it on when he got in the ring, and it's like, Jesus Christ, if this was anyone else, they'd be shitting themselves. But John just thinks that Kane's a nice messenger for his brother. Oh.
Because, the thing about it was, Cena was finally going to get a response about it. It's just, it wasn't, the response that he wanted.
What a douche. And we get to see a wonderful match this week on Raw.
Cena could be a great backstage interviewer if this wrestling thing doesn't work out for him. What else did we have? We also had...
Oh, God! You just put that picture up on the stream and look at his face!
Yeah! Here, let me... Here, I'll throw it back up here. Hold on. Here we go.
It looks like...
That's why I said he'd be a great backstage interviewer. He's got the facial expressions down pat.
He looks like a teacher telling a kid off and demanding an answer.
You can just see him. Ladies and gentlemen, my guest is this time Kane.
No, but he'd do it in that really stupid voice that he does, like the really, like when he always says WrestleMania or Undertaker. Undertaker!
My guest at this time, Kane!
And everyone that interviews him just slaps him.
Okay, now I'm sold now. Let's do that.
Yeah.
If I see Cena get slapped every week, that's good.
Yeah, but he'd him and then it'd all go wrong.
It would. He would always get his comeback by the end of the interview.
That's true. And then you had the Balor Club defeating Intercontinental Champion Miz in the Miztourage. And the main event, which we've already discussed, was the Ultimate Deletion.
Jumped right over the highlight of Raw this week.
Which was?
Tyler Black and Prince Nevitt.
Oh. See, if Miz would have said Tyler White and Prince Nevitt, I think that would have been a little bit more like an intentional slip of the tongue sort of thing. But I think he just kind of made himself kind of look more like a goof by saying Nevitt than Divot. Even I knew that one, Miz. Come on. And I don't even watch indie wrestling. Come on.
It's weird. I don't know if it was deliberate, or if he really didn't know, or he did know but slipped, or what.
I think he knew he made the mistake, but he knew he had to carry on.
Yeah.
But I can imagine the character as a WWE company man and whatever. This is the big leagues and nothing else matters. Kind of getting it wrong kind of works, and I don't know if he would actually think that in real life, that like it doesn't matter what you did before now, but there are people that think that way.
Yeah.
So it does make him look like a goof, and like I think he deserves all the scorn for it. But I don't know if anyone's going to do that. If anyone's going to make that mistake.
The thing is I can see him as well. Like it'll be referenced later on by someone to try and get one up on him.
I kind of thought that would happen when Finn Balor came out. I thought he was going to slap him or something. It's Devitt, you moron. Because he won at the end, and I can imagine him shouting.
I could just imagine like Miz firing back though about how he just like Googled it and he couldn't remember what it was because it just was pathetic or something, and he'll have some retort that'll save it. But yeah, I don't know.
Did he get him mixed up with Neville?
I think that's what I thought. Yeah. Which did you mean King Neville?
King Neville, yeah.
And then on SmackDown, the Daniel Bryan news, of course.
You missed the other best bit of Raw.
Oh, what was that?
It's the other
Ronda Rousey's video package.
Oh, I don't remember, honestly.
What?
I didn't care. Contrary to popular belief, Beans, I don't care about Ronda Rousey. I'm sorry.
Who just said that they fast forwarded it?
Will did.
What's wrong with you?
Raw's on for three hours. I had an hour to watch it.
Now fast forward through the adverts and the shitty matches.
I did. I like how Bean sounds genuinely offended.
I fast forward a video package you're going to see at least 15 times before WrestleMania.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, but this is the first time to see it. You fast forward it after you've already seen it.
I'm sure I'll see it again.
Oh, it was so good.
We'll see it at WrestleMania. If it's that important, we'll see it before the match at WrestleMania.
Chuck, you're talking like you haven't seen it now.
Well, I can't remember exactly what I did. I know I've seen a lot of it. I may have skipped because it sounds like something I might have done.
I saw it, but don't remember it.
Yeah.
Let me guess. Was it all about how it's been a dream to come to WWE? Was it mixed in with clips of UFC matches? Yeah. And then she pointed a sign?
No.
And the Olympics too. She basically said she had done a load of stuff, then lost, and she got all depressed, and now she's got a new goal, and it's a dream, and this is cool, and she's not going to take any shit or something like that.
She didn't say that.
She pointed to the sign.
Yeah, she didn't say that anybody was going to be.
She
didn't say anybody was going to be pissing or shitting themselves. So I didn't care.
Oh no! You really do need to watch this. There was so much more than that.
Bean sounds so upset. I love it.
Because it was a genuinely like really good stop putting pictures up of her pointing at the side. This was the first genuine thing that was like you could. It's so irritating. We have this character of Brock Lesnar from UFC that's like mercenary, and we all think that Ronda Rousey is going to be the equivalent of that. And this was like to show the total opposite of it, about how this is actually something that means something to her.
That's true. It's true.
But it was like, it was talking about her experience with judo and the Olympics, but then thinking that she'd done things right and she was struggling. She was sleeping in a car. Mm-hmm. Then it was about her going to UFC because she needed to feed a dog and things like that. It sounds stupid when I say it, but you...
Yeah, no, now that sounds familiar. Now you're jogging my memory.
And then it had her getting, like, showing that she started getting upset because she was actually contemplating suicide after a loss in the UFC.
To Holly Holm, I believe, yeah.
Yeah. And it was just like, you could just tell in this, like, promo that it was just... This is the kind of thing that you were hoping that you could achieve with her, if you know what I mean. And it was, you could tell that there was a genuineness to it as well. It wasn't just something written down to say. It was something that you could tell she felt.
Yeah.
And whilst it makes no difference to facing Stephanie McMahon in a ring at WrestleMania, it was just like, you do care a little bit more about this character when she comes out.
That's true.
I don't know about that. I don't think... it was a nice piece and all, but I don't know if like a majority of the fans are gonna buy into it, you know.
But the thing is, you know, like we go on about Nakamura, like he's in WWE, and what is he? As in a character,
he's a rock star.
Exactly, it's this thing. It pisses me off. It's like he comes into WWE with his name of being the king of strong style. He's coming from Japan. And he's got all this hype around him. And then when he gets to WWE, he's a fucking rock star.
He's just a guy that shakes around a little bit. We're supposed to believe that.
But the thing is, this is what the kind of thing they need to do with Nakamura for people to make a connection and understand his past just slightly or get interested in it.
Do it with any of the other women. You've got the women's evolution is supposed to be a big deal and they're supposed to matter now.
Yeah.
They can wrestle, most of them, we know that, but who are they?
Yeah.
Why is Sasha the boss?
Exactly.
Like, where does that come from?
Well,
why does Bayley love hugging?
I was about to say, why does she want to hug everybody?
You get away with it more because they're able to tell their own version of stories and things in the ring, even though they don't. But the thing with Nakamura is there's a massive language barrier, and you just don't know anything. And like you said, for all you know, it's a guy that comes out looks like he's partially having a seizure most of the time.
But he can sing.
But he can sing, and he can kick ass.
Yeah.
But
he can knee faces.
That's it.
So. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What more do you want?
Yeah, I agree. I kind of, when she came to WWE at the Rumble and whatever, I was kind of hoping she would be a Lesnar. Like she was in UFC. She just showed up, beat people in no time at all. That was great fun.
Yeah.
But you're right. They did a good job here making her seem human. And if they can do that while also making her a badass, if, you know, it's a fine line to walk, a really nice person who has a dream and is living her dream, but is still scary. If they can make it work, then great. And you think if they're going to try and make it work with anyone, this will be the one.
I think there's a thing. Yeah, I think there's a thing on, like the stories about her, like you said, about feeling more comfortable that she's able to enjoy and relax and, you know, enjoy the experience of being with WWE. And that's something I think that's good because you get to understand the person. But then it's also set up ideally that someone will attack her or do something that will make her turn into that character that you're on about from the UFC. True. And I think that's the direction to go with her because it's like, you know, you made me go to this place kind of thing.
There are just certain people whose real life personas I don't want to know. I don't need to know anything about Kane or Brock Lesnar. I don't need to know that he's alone. Well, that he's a loner maybe, but I don't want to know that he's a nice family man and he's got a wife and whatever, like living alone in the hills. Yeah, I want him to be this monster guy who does his own thing and he does what he wants. He's a mercenary, he makes his money and then goes and, you know, it's all on his schedule. And when he's around, he's gonna beat people. That's fun. That's a wrestler.
There you go.
And there's certain guys who, like a Zack Ryder, very personable guy, seems like a nice guy. That works for him. I don't know if Ronda Rousey's one or the other yet.
Moving on to SmackDown, if I can. If there's anything else from Raw you want to add?
No, sorry, I didn't mean to.
That's all right.
On a long tangent.
That's fine. It was worth it to hear you get genuinely offended.
Just give over. I was just more shocked.
I'll be sure to watch all future video packages.
There you go.
I want it in writing.
Nakamura defeated Rusev on Rusev Day again. Not sure why. Yeah. Not sure why Rusev's losing, but there you go.
He's like the heel of the month, I guess. He's the guy for Nakamura to beat on his way to WrestleMania. I don't know why it's not Ziggler. I don't know why it's not Corbin.
Yeah, I don't know why it has to be Rusev constantly, considering the fans are behind it. Corbin and Dillinger, which had a sloppy finish to it from what I remember. Corbin was trying to go for the deep six, I believe, and then there's some sort of miscommunication and threw Dillinger out to the ringside area and then came back in and did it properly. Very strange. Natty defeated Charlotte Flair via distraction, I think. Because
there was the cash-in.
Oh yeah, the fake cash-in. That's right. Which I guess they keep teasing that, and maybe at WrestleMania they're just gonna have it. Which that also brings up the question of how does the Money in the Bank contract work while the match is in progress? Does it become a triple threat? Does the match get thrown out because it's no contest, or
no? There's a precedent for it.
Yeah.
So if
we know that.
All right. So if she were to cash in on the Battle Royal, and was the last one in, she would win the Snickers
Battle Royal.
Yeah, the women's Battle Royal. If she were to cash in on it,
you can't.
How could she?
The champion's not in the women's Battle Royal.
She'll just be in it.
All right. Well, maybe the champion will be in it. Who knows?
I think we know.
All right. Well, fine.
I'm going to say if the women's champions have clearly got matches.
Hypothetically.
Well, if the champion's in it, then Carmella's in it. We know that.
All right.
She wouldn't need to cash in on it.
Yeah.
I guess that's true. God damn it! All right, well, I thought I had something because I wanted her to win the Snickers trophy or whatever trophy that they're gonna give, and then the title as well.
Snickers trophy.
Well, she might. Yeah. She might win it, and then later on in the night cash in, make it a triple threat, and win it.
I guess that's true too. Yeah.
I don't think it's going to happen because that means Asuka loses her streak, but it could.
Mm.
Yeah,
could she not cash in on the Raw title?
No.
I think there's a stipulation to that. Yeah.
Is there?
Well, because it was a SmackDown only event when they did it, I get that. But also, if there's a superstar shake-up thing or if there's a secret trade.
Ooh.
A secret trade.
I don't know why I did the Dr. Evil thing with the fingers, the laser thing, when I actually said that as well.
I still think she's gonna forget to cash in. She goes for it, but the contract's already expired, not realizing that's been a year.
What?
Yeah.
So you're booking her to be stupid?
I wouldn't say stupid, just a little bit.
Well, I'm not being funny, but if the one thing that you've been carrying around with you, the most precious thing is this contract to win a championship, and it's valid.
For
bearing in mind you're on a television show where they're going to be going it's valid for a year.
Yeah.
And they're going to be going, well, you're coming up to the thing, and she's just going to forget.
I mean, it's not that she's going to forget. She's going to cash in, and then it'll go through, but somebody will read the contract and just be like, well, actually, it expired.
Actually, it wasn't until Money in the Bank 2018. It was 365 days, so that expired yesterday.
Yeah.
Whatever it would be.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Would that be all right, Beans?
They should do that on a leap year, where there was an extra day.
Yeah.
I just got this image that if that was to happen out of the blue, you'd be whinging, going, that is such a fucking stupid WWE thing to do.
But they would do it. That's the thing. You can see him do it.
Yeah.
I think it's too clever.
That's also
I think it's too TNA.
That's also kind of true, too. He also had Harper defeating Jimmy Uso. Some segment between Orton, Rude, and Jinder Mahal, which I think they should just have like a three-way at Mania already. And Becky Lynch and Naomi defeating Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan, part of the Riot Squad. Which, so yeah, that all that happened, I guess. And we already mentioned about the beatdown to Daniel Bryan at the end of the show, and all the hypotheticals with that as well. So I think that's it for me. I don't know if you guys have anything else you wanna add.
There is some news about possibly AJ Styles not being fit for Mania.
Really?
Oh, there was a thing at the MSG show, weren't there, where he got stretchered out or something, or he got taken out by officials.
Oh no!
Triple H did some sort of conference call or some sort of interview last couple of days anyway. And he said there are plans in place if he's not ready. Apparently he's not ready at the moment. He's not being cleared yet.
Ooh.
So, and apparently AJ just said that he'll be at Mania on one leg if he has to be.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll do it. But
yeah, if he's not cleared, he ain't.
Oh yeah,
Ryan would have done it.
What do you think to do if he's not ready?
Daniel Bryan.
Clap. I mean, Bryan versus Nakamura would be a hell of a match on paper.
Yeah, I think anything short of that is going to be a huge letdown.
Yeah.
I think Vince needs to make a quick phone call to CM Punk.
No. If it's not Bryan versus Nakamura somehow, some way, if AJ's not able to compete, then I don't know. Maybe it can't be Rusev. It can't be Rusev for like a third time. I don't know. Honestly, you'd have to pull some sort of roundabout way to make that match mean something and have it, have some sort of impact, because it's the Royal Rumble winner. Like, they got to be going for the title at some point,
Well, that's it. Yeah. So it depends how bad the injury is. If he's going to be out for a while,
I mean,
then they can take the title off him.
If he can rehab it and get it to some sort of state where he can actually compete and he's cleared to compete, then I think you can probably see him in action, just not at 100%. Which then would ask the question: does Nakamura win the title? Which, I mean, it's a little bit up in the air at the moment, at this given time. But I don't know. It depends on the severity of the injury right now. If he can rehab it and get back in the ring, I feel.
I think the championship should just default to the previous champion.
Who had the
Jinder?
Yeah, Jinder Mahal.
Jinder Mahal. Main event of WrestleMania.
Nakamura versus Mahal.
And then Gronkowski can come out and cost him the title.
Oh my god. By throwing beer in his face.
Yeah.
Great.
Why not?
Awesome. That's something to keep an eye on, for sure, though. We're only like a couple of weeks away from Mania, so it's going to be
big.
It is definitely going to be
big people.
Big people, yeah. Really big.
Really, really big.
According to AJ Styles' Twitter, says that he's rehabbing right now, so.
Rehabbing, he's sitting on a bench looking at his leg going, hell!
Plus he also plays Fortnite. There you
go.
All right.
Well, who isn't these days?
Yeah,
I'm not.
Me, I've never played it.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's your answer.
Anything else to add before we get out of here?
I can't think of anything, actually.
No.
I feel like I'm forgetting something really important.
Yeah.
You might be, actually.
Oh,
in 10 minutes, it will be 2 a.m., not 1 a.m.
Indeed.
Oh.
Yeah. So this could be our longest show ever.
It's only an hour and 23 minutes.
Well, it would be 2 hours and 23 minutes.
Yeah, our time
wouldn't
zone changes.
Kind of would.
It doesn't work like that. No.
No, it doesn't.
YouTube might think it works like that.
Well, YouTube's dumb.
Okay.
Yeah.
Certain things that
hard
YouTube
to argue with that.
Certain things YouTube does are dumb. So, I think it's gonna be it. We'll be back next week, assuming I haven't completely pissed off the YouTube gods, with another edition of the podcast. And hopefully, you can listen in live on the YouTube gimmick here, as well as on iTunes. Drop us a like, 5 stars, leave a comment, tweet us at the IWC Radio, hashtag IWC Radio. We'll possibly read your stuff on air if it's good. And I forgot to cut to this a while ago. It's the gif of Dixie being dragged along by Hulk Hogan. I forgot I made this into a gif.
Perfect way for the show to go.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. We'll see you guys next week. Take care. Have a great one.